Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk. I am your host, Asia the Bird. To have a very special guest with me today, she is a nail artist, also known as Black Cherry Nails. Please welcome Coriana. Hello, Coriana. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Yes, absolutely. So I definitely want to get into in regards to tell us where you're originally from and how'd you get started into nails.
Yeah, so I'm from the Vancouver, BC, Canada area. Born and raised here, and it's a really beautiful place to live. So my partner and I just kind of stuck around for all these years.
Oh, that's really, really cool. So,
Yeah,
like, how did you get exposed into nails? Like, did somebody expose you to it, or did you run across a nail salon? Like, how did you get exposed to nails?
I think honestly a big part of it for me was I used to get my nails done in the 90s,
Mhm.
when I was in high school, and it was always like painful. A lot of it was
Mhm.
painful. It was very quick. It was very like um revolving door kind of. And I'm like, okay, well, this is just how
Mhm.
it is.
Right.
And then I remember I was doing nails for a friend's wedding. I was doing my own, and then everybody tended to like line up, and like
Mm.
all of a sudden
Yeah.
I was doing all these people, and I'm like, wait a minute, I should get paid for this. And then I was
Right.
like, and that's kind of where the earworm kind of started, I guess. So that was kind of the first time I had been like, do people do this? And
Mm.
then, yeah, and I figured it, like I got my nails done for my wedding, and they were horrendous. Uh, I was like, there has to be a better way. Like this can't be it. So that's
Right.
kind of
Right.
how it started.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So definitely, I want to get into. Did you have any interest prior to nails, or was nails just solely you always wanted to do?
It's I've been doing this for 15 years, so it's kind of hard to picture life without it or like life before nails.
Right.
But yeah, it's like I'd always had an interest in it, but I never thought I could do it, as a career.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought like I worked an office job for a long, long time, and I always thought if I left that job, it would kind of like be to like walk dogs or something. Like
Right.
I didn't picture sales as like a profession, a career, but
Right.
like
Right.
yeah, but I love like I love animals. I love like weightlifting. I love crime podcasts. I love cycling. I love drag shows. Like, yeah, I have lots of interest, but yeah, nails is like, it's all consuming. We,
Mm-hmm. Right.
in
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
industry, it's like, oh man, it's my whole life.
Mm-hmm. I definitely want to go ahead and really ask, like, what was like your time like in beauty school, and what beauty school was it?
So I went to Blanche McDonald Center in Vancouver. It's
Mm-hmm.
arguably the most well-known one here.
Mm-hmm.
It's they've fostered a lot of really great talent.
Right.
And just before I went there, they'd actually developed a nail specific program, which was awesome. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to like go through all because here there was like an esthetician program,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of had a bit of everything in it. Or
Right.
there was like hair, fashion, all that kind of stuff all
Mm-hmm.
in one umbrella. But yeah, they branched out and did nails specifically. So that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I my last job was in law, so it's been
Mm.
a bit of a shift. But yeah, I
Mhm.
went back to school for nails when I think I was 26. But yeah, it was kind of a bare bone. Like you learn the bare bones when you're in school, and then you're kind
Mhm.
of like left to your devices when you get out, and you're just kind
Right.
of there to figure it all out. And it's yeah, I feel like every brand now has their
Mhm.
own training, their own programs, and then I just I
Mhm.
feel like nail techs are more confused than ever when they come out of school because there's no like
Mhm.
static process for anything. It's very
Right.
like mishmash, and then you just like learn everything when you come out. It's just so much information.
Yeah, right, exactly, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of law, I find it to be very interesting. Did you go to college for law?
I actually went so kind of right out of high school. I
Mm.
had a friend who said to me, oh my dad has a law firm. If you go take this program, he'll give you a job. So I was like, okay, like right out and like make some money, let's go.
Right.
So I did this legal admin program when I was like
Mhm.
19, and
Mhm.
I wound up getting picked up by the Supreme Court in our
Wow.
province. So I was a court clerk there for uh 13 years.
Mm.
And yeah, so it was a it's almost like crime podcast, but in real life. So
Wow.
take that as you want it. But it was a stressful job. And I went to school for nails while I was doing that full time. I
Wow.
knew I needed to get out and do something different. So I was going to school nights and weekends and just trying to hustle and get out of there. And I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. I want to push forward and talk about press-on nails. So what drew your interest into doing press-on nails?
Ooh. So in my job, in my studio specifically, because I mean, everybody kind of spreads through word of mouth and, like-minded folks, and it's all very kind of similar clients for me anyway. But most of my clients are kind of short nails. They like their art. They like that kind of, but like they
Right.
can't handle long nails, and I always bug them about it. I feel it's my duty to bug them about it and tell them how much I want them to have long nails, but that's kind of the story for all of us, I guess. So doing press-ons was like a real outlet, which was really nice because it was, I got to just kind of be creative and see where it went. And it really, my love of drag kind of just spilled over into this thing, and that's originally that's the only folks I was targeting. I was just targeting performers and drag performers in particular. But now I've kind of opened it up to everybody, and it's just, it's a lot of fun. And then the other thing that drew me into press, I mean, I kind of got drawn to nail gloves before I even was drawn into press-ons, I guess, because they go hand in hand, but then again, they don't. So, I started doing research, and I wanted to know everything about the nail gloves. I wanted to know how they were constructed, how to make them last through performances and death drops and the other crazy stuff that drag queens do I could never do with my body.
Right.
So it was a lot of research, and it was a lot of like buying 17 different glues and learning what does what and how to make things hold up. And one thing that I really noticed that kind of made me want to get into it even more was that there were no other skin tones for these nude illusion gloves than like a beige. And so I started doing even more research because I was like, no, we got to fix that. So that's when I started doing custom tone dyes for my clients and started offering that, so that it was like kind of just like opening it up a little bit, because it's still not something that a lot of people do. So it's still a super niche market.
Right.
I wanted to, at least from my end, from what I could do, make it more inclusive and like open to people so that they didn't have to like ask, you know, so it wouldn't have to be like a question. It's like, well, yes, absolutely. We can like custom do the tones so that they're like complimentary and lovely and fits your aesthetic and your drag, and just make it like how they should be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a contact with like Rit Dye down in the US. You see it at Michael's all the time, or I don't know the craft stores down in the States, but Joann's maybe. But they always have all the Rit dyes, and I was consulting with the lady who was helping me kind of develop these recipes for it. So that was kind of, that was a fun journey for me. Like I wanted to encourage more people to follow suit because it's such a small corner of the market.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Now, for someone who wants to start their own press-on nail business or nail glove business, what's some piece of advice you would give for people who want to start their own press-on nail glove business?
I would say kind of find a mentor if you can, because it's tough just going at it on your own. I mean, find somebody who will help guide you, through the stuff nobody really wants to learn the hard way. And just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Just do you, and like don't be concerned with what everyone else is doing, because it's never going to be the same. You want to do your individual thing, and then you're going to draw the right people, pretty much. And know your worth. That's the other thing too. Like,
absolutely,
don't undercut yourself, because it's not worth it. Like everybody seems to try to cut each other off at the knees, and it's not it's not helpful. It doesn't help anybody. And, there's always somebody willing to do it cheaper. And it doesn't have to be you, just value yourself, and then other people will value you too.
Yeah, absolutely, most definitely. Now, I definitely want to get into in regards to drag queens. So, like, how'd you first start getting into, like, what exposed you to like Drag Race? Did you come across it on TV? Did you start watching Canada's Drag Race? Like, what franchise you start watching?
Yeah, I kind of I've always just been really obsessed with local drag. That's kind of been my favorite thing. But I watched season 1 of Canada's Drag Race, and I kind of didn't really think much about it. And then Gia reached out to me when they were about to go film season 2. And I think they met, or they heard about me through a friend of theirs, which was pretty great. Like, it was a great connection. It was like, they were super, super sweet about it. But it was, with Drag Race, it was always very, it was always time crunch. So you're, always kind of just like, go, 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 go. But that was a lot of fun. So I did all Gia's nails for season 2. I think we did 10 pairs of gloves for that season, which was a lot. And then I did Shella's on the Roof for season 3, which was a lot of fun. Shella's an Indigenous performer from Saskatoon, and she's just an awesome human. So I was super honored to work with all these people. I've outfitted Queens for Drag Con, which is kind of the next, the fashion show for Ru girls. So that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. Now, is there any drag queens, like, international wise, you would like to work with, like do nail gloves, press on nails for?
Oh, so many. Yes. So off the top of my head, I'd love to work with like Gottmik, Kitamine, Silky Nutmeg Ganache. I love her. She's so much fun. She just cracks me up. I just want to sit in a room with her for like 20 minutes and she's such an awesome human being. Landon Sider would be another one. A drag king, just fabulous performer, very like kind of like do everything aesthetic with a bit of a creepy twist, and I'm so here for it. Not international, but Isis Couture. She's fabulous, and I love her fashion. And probably Raja O'Hara. Love. So yes, I'm also a fan of Purple, and she's just so awesome. So yeah, I think those are probably. I would love to do nails for them for sure.
Yeah, Raja O'Hara, she's really, really cool. Like, she's very talented.
Yes, so talented. And I love how she just like, she just owns it.
Right.
It's like, man, that like charisma and just, raw talent. Such raw talent. I just love her.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. It's really, really cool. I could also see you doing like, nail gloves for like Cheddar Gorgeous or like Shea Coulee.
Let me at it. I'll do them all. I mean, call me.
Yeah. I definitely want to go ahead and push forward and talk about the nail education system in Canada. So how can you describe nail education in Canada? What's that like?
I think it kind of varies. I can really only speak to BC, but it's tough. It's not great, and I think most of that stems from not having any regulation here. So it's kind of a free for all when it comes to schooling, and there's, like I said before, there's no like static program that kind of everybody takes, and then everybody knows what's going on, and then they're everybody's confident when they get out of school. It's very kind of haphazard and like, it's just like it's very, very bare bones. I feel like even the big accredited schools, like the one that I went to, they're still always so far behind because the industry moves so quick.
Right.
So it's hard for them to keep up, whether they can't or won't. I don't know which one it is, but I mean, like when I went to school, we didn't even have nail art. Like, we had French tips, and that was about it. Like, it was very limited. So like it's just it's we definitely need to do better. I've rallied for re-regulation for a long time, and I think everyone should, because it's a way to kind of keep tabs on the standards of the industry as a whole.
Right.
And I think that's super important.
Yeah.
There are some places in Canada who have regulation, just we're not one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and to add on to that, like I'm a licensed cosmetologist in the States, specifically in Maryland. And the thing is that like I can agree, like, you know, with beauty school or like even with nail school, they don't teach you a lot in depth. I mean, they teach you about sanitation and stuff, and that's important, but they don't go into a depth about business or like finances and taxes and stuff in regards to being in the beauty industry, especially the nail industry. You know what I mean? So like, especially with nail, like how you said, it's very limited. So all you know is like French tips and then like red nails.
Oh, the red. But like, how sweet would it be if they taught us how to do our taxes in that class? Like, how many of us would have been so much further ahead having learned that, you know? Ugh.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know, and you know, you got to learn a lot of stuff on your own. And so that's the thing. And that's the beauty about also with like, you know, nail education now, where there's a lot of classes out there now that could teach you, like, you know, from the basic things about nail prep and sanitation to, you know, how to own a business and things like that. So I'm glad that there's other nail artists and nail techs that are really, you know, having their own nail classes.
Yeah, for sure. And it's all like, there's so much continuing ed too, which is really great. Like, you can take all this stuff on your own volition and better yourself without having to, you know, depend on on the schools for that. Like, I used to, the college that I went to for nails, they asked me probably about 6 years ago if I would go back and guest spot and teach nail art once, like I think every 6 weeks or every couple of months or something. But you know, bringing in elements like that is so helpful. And also too, like at the same time, because I'm such an open book with this industry, like I've been at it so long, I don't keep anything to myself. I probably give away too much, but I don't even care at this point. It's like sharing is caring, and I care about this industry, and we all eat, you know, like
absolutely.
I think it's so important that we kind of just share what we can. And I used to go into these classes, and they would wind up having, you know, I would teach them some nail art, and the class that I taught was salon nail art to make you money, because ultimately that's what it's about. It's not about you know, them bringing in Instagram nails and expecting you to do it, and it's like not realistic for an hour and a half of a nail appointment, or you know. So there's like easy techniques, and at the same time I kind of give them like business tips and like things that they could do after they get out of school, places they could work, or if they want to go out on their own, some kind of tips for that, because that's all I've done. And yeah, I kind of just like cram as much as I can into it. So I hope that helps somebody along the way.
I want to go ahead and push forward by asking, during your journey being a nail artist, was there anything that you found difficult within the journey? Was there any obstacles that you had to face during your journey?
I think a big thing is dealing with people in general, and you know, tempering expectations. Learning how to say no. I think that's, and I'm not a confrontational person, so learning how to say no was a big one for me. And also too, learning how to set boundaries with your clients, and you know, whether it's saying no to a set that you're not confident in doing. You know, like if somebody brings you an Instagram set and you're just like, you don't see anything like that on my page. Like, why are you asking me to do? And just coming up with another solution, thinking on your feet. It's all kind of related that way. Or just, you know, not booking yourself into oblivion, setting boundaries, like not answering phone calls at 11 o'clock at night if somebody breaks a nail drunk. No, boundaries, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the toughest part, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to get into something that you really mentioned, which is very important, is problem solving. Because I believe us as nail artists in general, we have to be not only, artists and things like that, but we have to be problem solvers. So, in your perspective, how important is problem solving, in the nail salon, or in the nail industry in general?
It's super important because I think there's such a high expectation from the public, um,
Hmm.
of us. And I mean, there should be to an extent, like the things that they
Hmm.
should be expecting is for, the tools to be properly sanitized, and, your desk to be clean, and to
Hmm.
see certification on the wall. But that's not the stuff that they're expecting.
Hmm.
It's they expect me to be able to paint a Disney character in extreme detail in, for $10. That's kind of, I think that's where it kind of got away.
Hmm.
So I think, yeah, it's just a lot of like managing expectations, and making sure that
Hmm.
people know before they book with you, um,
Hmm.
how you operate, what your values are, and just that all kind of circles back to attracting the right people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, what are some things that you've learned, within the nail industry, but also what do you think in the nail industry, like some of the things that could be improved?
Um, I think definitely, like, the things that I love about the industry is the art. I love the expression.
Mhm.
I love watching, nail techs express themselves through all these different mediums. It's a lot of fun, and it's great
Mhm.
to watch people grow. So,
Right.
like I see a lot of, the baby nail techs who I taught at Blanche McDonald. I see them like kind of flourishing and going on doing their thing, and I'm just like,
Right.
it's such a great feeling to watch them go be successful, and like
Right.
that's what I'm in it for, is like
Mhm.
the community and supporting each other and making sure that we stick together because,
Mhm.
uh, I'll say it, running a nail salon or a nail studio or a nail, you know, palace or whatever you do is one of the most complicated, sections of the beauty industry to run.
Mhm.
It's extremely expensive.
Mhm.
It's exhausting.
Mhm.
We break our bodies for people's self-care. And
Right.
I think so the one thing, one of the things that could be changed is, people's perception of our industry.
Mhm.
And, just kind of realizing that, like, we're allowed to realize our own value,
Mhm.
and, not to haggle with people's prices,
Mhm.
or shame them for not being able to do a certain look that they want, or, you know
Mhm.
being honest with them or setting boundaries. A lot of people just can't handle that, and I think that's what needs to change. Definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, how have you been able to balance being a nail artist with mental health?
um I think mental health is such a huge deal, and
Mhm.
I'm kind of realizing that more now that I'm in my 40s. um it's a big part of the whole balancing act.
Mhm.
It's, um I like, for example, now I take clients full on for 2 weeks, and then
Mhm.
every third week I dedicate for press-ons. And
Mhm.
so I do my orders, I have my admin stuff that I do, all of the behind the scenes stuff that nobody ever has time for, content,
Mhm.
filming, like whatever else I have to do, because there's not enough hours in the day. Uh,
Mhm.
Burnout is
Right.
real in this industry.
Yeah.
I think we've all felt it at some point or another.
Mhm.
You can't do it, and you're exhausted, and everything kind of
Right.
falls by the wayside. So, you know, you gotta protect yourself, because it's
Mhm.
always trying to sneak up on you, I think. And
Mhm.
that's how I kind of try to balance, is I take that time to do the thing without having to bend over backwards like crazy.
Yeah, right, exactly. Sometimes you do need to take a step back,
Yeah.
just give yourself a break,
Yeah.
because because
Realizing that's hard.
yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely hard, and like for me, I remember competing in a nail competition, nails to top nail artists, and that competition is a lot of work.
Ooh,
And it's hosted by Nails Magazine and sponsored by CND. It was a good experience because it does push you, but it's
yeah.
a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to spend like hours on like a set of nails, things like that. There's sometimes I had to step back and be like, I need a break. There's a time or so I broke down and cried. I was like, so yeah. So sometimes you do need to take a step back and stuff like that.
Yeah. The overwhelm is real for sure. And
Yeah.
like I hats off to you for doing a competition like that, because honestly, like just the thought of that just stresses me out so much. Competing, testing, all that stuff is just like not for me. I would not be able to handle it. So amazing.
Yeah. I definitely want to go ahead and get to the fun part, because I want to go ahead and ask, what are some of like your favorite nail products to use for like nail art or nail services?
That literally changes so often. I love pigment. I love crystals. I love big chunky crystals. I love oh, I'm just like looking around my studio. I'm like, what do I like right now? Chromes. I'm always obsessed with chromes.
Yeah,
I just
chromes.
ordered the ice gel sunset chromes that everybody's been talking about. So I got my hands on those. Can't wait for them to come. I love like chrome flakes and stamping and airbrushing. I love, there's so many, and it's always changing. And I love when you like go into your drawers after you haven't used something in a long time and you find it and you're like, new things. You're just like, it's like coming across as like your birthday every time you find something that you haven't used in a while and you didn't have to buy it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Now, if you had a top 5 list of your favorite nail artists, who would they be and why?
Oh boy. Oh, there's so many. So I love ASIATHABIRD. Her nail, she uses a lot of the mediums that I love. So like a lot of airbrushing, a lot of like cool like 3D like retro kind of. I love her aesthetic. It's so much fun and it inspires me all the time. So I really love that.
Right.
Dippy Cow Nails. I love Jerry. Her work is so clean and she's just an absolutely lovely human. So I really love Dippy Cow Nails. She also advocates for the success of other press-on artists, which I love. She's really into her press-on portal, which is like a fantastic idea. Chloe she goes by Glam Nails 210, and she's an airbrushing master, which I'm still so not. So I asked her so many questions when I was first starting out, and she was absolutely great about it. I like helped me so much. But yeah, she has like all the supplies and all the stuff. And she's got courses and all. Yeah, she's going on. Lindsay, who's Witch Face Nails. She's in the UK as well. Her whole I love her aesthetic. It's so me. It's dark and a little ominous, which I really love. Tino Vo, who's obviously creates things that I could only dream of being able to create. And when I say that somebody brings me a picture and they're like, here, please give me this, it's usually something by Tino. And I'm like, ugh. No. I'm not.
Yeah, Tino's very, very talented.
But having somebody who you admire like that, who like makes you want to grow, is like what it's all about for them. So I think like this stuff is just so great that you're like, if I could do half of that, I would be really happy with myself. So yeah, I love Tino's stuff. Yeah, all of them are fabulous. Definitely like no particular order on that list. Everybody's just fabulous, amazing, supportive nail techs, and they're awesome.
Yeah, so it's really cool. Last but not least, where can people find you on social media and how can people support you and your work?
So I'm on Instagram the most. I'm terrible at TikTok and occasionally on YouTube, all at Black Cherry Nails. And if you'd like to support my little shop or, check out my offerings, you can do that at shop.blackcherrynails.com.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much, Coriana, for jumping onto the show. Your work is absolutely cool. I love what you're doing. I had a good time, having this conversation with you. So keep doing what you're doing, and just thank you so much.
Thanks, Asia.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bell for notifications. Also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Be sure to check out my website, ASIATHABIRD.com, and be on the lookout for more interviews to come very soon. Take care, stay healthy, and stay beautiful. Bye-bye.